Yeah, surf the beat cause the bass is bubbling. Gotta get it in before it comes tumbling down. There's only so much time to find this kind of rhyme to express my mind. Cause everything that has ever been made.
Christmas jive turkeys, and welcome to the CageCast. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser. And with me, as always, is my skinny rich friend.
It's Mozz.
Hey, Mozz. So glad to have you back for the penultimate episode of Marvel Comics Luke Cage Season 1, Episode 12, Soliloquy of Chaos. Directed by Phil Abram. Written by Charles Murray and Akila Cooper. Of course, created by Chio Hodari Coker. Man, this was a good movie. This was a good episode.
Yeah.
Let's see where to start, man. Okay, so we're opening up
Cages and Restraints.
Cages and Restraints. Oh yes, Cages and Restraints. Cages and Restraints in this?
Yeah.
I thought he escaped.
He escapes in this episode, but the episode starts with him in restraints.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Misty plays dumb. She walks over to him, lets him sort of slyly know that they all have the Judas bullets, but you need to escape before you hit the police station.
Yes. See, I kind of thought, that was an interesting thing for me, because I wasn't sure if she was telling him to wait till he gets to the police station to escape, or to escape before then.
Yeah, no, I wasn't sure either. And at first I wasn't sure, what she was doing at all. And then she sort of contradicts what's actually happening, because the cops inside, when he's riding around in the back of the cop van, they're like, hey, we got the same bullets as they do. So as in not having the Judas bullets. So I wonder what the thinking was there. Was it just like a budget cuts issue, or?
No, I thought they were saying that they did have the Judas bullets.
Oh, they were saying that they did?
Yeah, the guys in the truck had the Judas bullets too. Basically, they all had the Judas bullets. They were all able to take Cage out if they had to. Now, it's important to note, these are the Judas 2.0s, which means these are non-explosive rounds.
Right. Okay, they'll just go through him. But, I mean, yeah, if they go through him, he can just re-heal, right?
Well, theoretically, yeah. So, how useful they're actually in the long run going to be in the 2.0. Because, the basic point of the Judas bullets is these are made from Chitauri metal. Which is basically, that's going to be their stand-in for adamantine. Adamantium. Since apparently, for some reason, adamantium went to the X-Men. So Marvel can't use the term adamantium in their movies, which is why Cap's shield in the movies is made of vibranium. Now, of course, one could make the point, well, why aren't they just shooting vibranium bullets at the guys?
Right.
Those are probably just as good. Just as indestructible. But, I guess we won't dig too deeply in that. And, of course, vibranium.
I'm sure they'll make up some reason that I would say, yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Good enough for government work.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so they are at
they're about to get to the police station, and Luke decides, all right, it's time to bust out of here. Yes. But then, the cavalry's behind him, SUVs filled with cops with high-powered rifles with Chitauri bullets.
Yes.
And that's where he's in the alley, and he runs into the driver in that car.
Yeah.
Who decides to let him go.
Mm-hmm.
What I thought it was interesting here was they get a close-up of him, and his badge says Polsky. It's an odd name for a black guy, don't you think?
You know what, man? I'm going to tell you the truth of it. This is America. This is Harlem. No. Know, I mean, there are a lot of, for various reasons, you get a lot of names in the African American community, both from interbreeding, interracial marriages, between people that were in the ghetto with them, which included Poles, as well as the Irish, as well as Asians. In fact, it's great. You actually go down, if you ever, you actually look at some of the early 1800s, civil records in downtown New York, and you're going to see, Irish and Chinese people marrying, and African American and Chinese and Irish and everybody. We were a melting pot. We always have been. We're a melting pot culture. Yeah. So yeah,
I'm sure that's the point they were trying to make.
Yeah,
which is pretty awesome.
Well, exactly. And that is the point. Is that this is a story about America and
specifically New York too.
Yeah, specifically New York. And that Harlem is it may be a place where African Americans are the dominant group, but the fact of the matter is that even being an African American is a unique culture in and of itself, which includes this mixing of cultures. It's not just that it is the diaspora of African Americans. It is that this is the African American experience. The African diaspora includes African Americans, but they are their own thing as well. So the cop lets him go, and I love what he basically says there, which is like, all the young guys, they just want to run. I'd just rather be where I know you're going. And has him dead to rights, but lets him go. And he says, what is it? Tell me you outran me. I'm getting old. It's very believable.
And he says, it gives him a little nod saying, hey, there's a lot more people behind you than you think. Mm-hmm. And I mean, probably even on the force.
Well, yeah, that is indicative of comic book police officers in general. That they do recognize that these superheroes can be helpful. There are those that don't like superheroes at all, and there are many who say, but you let a Daredevil through, and so now we've got to deal with a freaking Punisher. And then there are others that'll say, "Hey, I'm not got no problem with the Punisher because he's just shooting mobsters."
Yeah, sometimes we could take all the help we can get, really.
Yeah, I mean, and that is the differentiation between the groups,
Yeah. It's usually one group that sort of ends up turning into supervillains, though.
Yeah. Well, and that's where we have it is. But yeah, so there are cops who support Luke, and there are, because we know there are cops who support Luke because Misty supports Luke.
Yeah.
And really her captain has no real problems with Luke. She just has to follow the crime,
Right.
She's doing her job. It's not that she's like, oh, Luke's a menace. She's not sitting there like J. Jonah Jameson, but she is going to say, I'm not going to give him a pass just because bullets bounce off him. If anything, that's a reason not to give him a pass.
Right. And honestly, I think, she makes Misty better. Mm-hmm. Just by making sure that all her bases are covered.
Yes. And that is what a good captain should do.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed.
I have heard people refer to this show as the Misty Knight Show with special guest Cage.
I can see that.
And I do see why, but I do love, the captain, they're looking at everyone in lockup, and the captain says she's going to squeeze Shades because she feels that Shades is the one that can be broke. But I love Shades' scene with the captain.
Oh, it's so wonderful.
Yeah, especially when, she says, you could do 25 years. Is really that much? Okay, I'll tell you everything. The guy goes by the name Lawyer.
Lawyer.
Yes. First name Law, last name Yer. And that is honestly, this is, the supporting cast in Luke Cage is really amazing.
Yeah.
And it's not to take away from Mike Coulter. Mike Coulter is fantastic in this role, but the fact of the matter is that they have such great people all around them. Really, really sells this.
If you'll remember, like at the onset when I saw the first couple of episodes, I did not like Shades' character. For the longest time, I had such a problem with him, but by the end of it, he's maybe my favorite character on the show. He's the one I find myself rooting for the most.
Yeah, well, he definitely is a character that ingratiates belovedness. I think that people who watch the show really like how the character has been broken down. He's been constructed, and how and as I've said before, he is like the one character who doesn't have a personal vendetta. He's not trying. He's not after Luke Cage because Luke Cage, done him wrong. He's
Right.
not after Misty Knight or Maria or Mariah Dillard or anyone. He's not out to screw over anyone. He's not even really out to screw over Diamondback.
No.
It's just
And
that
that's
he
the
wants.
thing. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not even that he doesn't have a reason to have a personal vendetta. I just feel like, I'm sure coming up as far as he had to have developed enemies, relationships, that have turned sour, that sort of thing. But for some reason, he's able to just let that go, which is what I really appreciated about his character, which is why I think he should be in a leadership role.
Yeah, well, exactly. Really, the only person in the whole show who really should be in a leadership role is definitely Shades. Shades is like the one guy who, clearly understands how to run a business dispassionately.
Yeah, him and Turk need to get together and work on something.
Oh, yeah. Although Turk, of course, has his downside with this episode, too. But we'll get to that in a minute. So Luke, because, of course, we get our big, so forced celebrity cameo in this.
Yeah.
Which is, of course,
Method
Man. Yes. Which, unfortunately, I guess for me, here's my thing. I'm going to be honest. My entire introduction to Method Man comes from Method Man and Red Man when they had the very short-lived Fox sitcom where they moved into the mansion in Beverly Hills.
I don't remember that.
Oh, it was a funny. I'm going to be honest. It was a very funny show. It was basically the idea was it was like a Beverly Hillbillies, but with millionaire rappers serving the Beverly Hillbilly kind of idea. So it was like the social cast of the group was like, oh heavens to Betsy, here are the fellas.
You know what? That sounds like a great premise for a show. I got to find this show.
Yeah, it was called Method and Red, and it's about Method Man and Red Man moving into, which is funny to me because it's like apparently because that's my introduction to them. I didn't realize that they were like really kind of like taken seriously as rappers. I actually thought they were kind of
legendary.
I thought they were kind of like Flavor Flav, But then again, Flavor Flav might be a guy who is very taken seriously as a rapper as well. No. I just only know him from the humor bits he's done,
Right.
So
that's almost sort of like speaks to his status in sort of the industry and in the community specifically. He's so well respected that they were putting him in, almost like Jerry Seinfeld's acting, It's like he broke character all the time, but you appreciated it because it was him, and for some reason you loved him for it,
Yeah. Well, it's like it's funny because I'll say that to them, but the truth be told, there are a lot of people for whom Ice Cube is merely a family comedian,
Right.
Ice Cube is basically the Sinbad of our modern age,
Right.
Not
No, but it's so true.
he is a guy who does these great family comedies,
Yeah.
Even Ice-T is now doing family comedies with Kevin Hart, These are who we're dealing with.
Yeah. So I think from there we're taken to the scene where Turk is talking to Diamondback and Zip walks in and lets him know that the files from his apartment have gone missing.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And we get a great bit with Turk and
Diamondback.
Yeah.
Oh, Turk and Zip.
Yeah, Turk and Zip, where basically we're talking about Zip's father and Romeo. And
is it his father or his older brother?
I thought it was supposed to be his father. I'm not sure.
That's
but maybe it was his older brother. I don't know. I'm really not that familiar with it.
No, I thought I read something about that. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Yes, but basically telling him he's not the man Romeo was, and of course, that comes back later. And they tell him not to wear shades as shades, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Which again,
Zip was trying a little too hard.
That comes back, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because he is trying too hard.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of it.
Diamondback points it out too. He goes, slow your roll, young man.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and he needs to. He needs to.
Yeah.
He needs to not play it so. He doesn't need to.
Obviously, I guess.
Well, you know what it is, and and I guess this is even kind of meant to be the point, is that he is not being his own man. He is trying to fill someone else's role that has already been set.
Right.
And and the fact of the matter is that you don't get ahead being someone else. You got to be yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's that. They send him to go get shades and deal with the situation.
Yeah.
Which of course, as you might imagine, ends poorly for
yeah, for poor old Zip.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's meant to end poorly for Shades, and that's the truth of it, is that it's meant to be Shades' last stand, but we get a great, what I like to call, this is the Winter Soldier elevator scene, but with and I rewatched it today. It's not quite as. And when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, they're going to do the elevator scene! They're going to do the elevator scene!" And I know that part of me was probably a little more in the zone of the elevator scene because of it. But we do get a very nice scene of basically Zip is trying to take out Shades. And he's totally got it on Shades, but then Shades is Shades, and this is not the first time I'm sure someone had a garrote around his neck in an elevator. And what I liked about this, because it's funny to me, because again, the second time I watch it, I didn't realize the other guys didn't join in the fight. I hadn't thought that the first time I watched it. I thought that everyone was piling on him and he fought everyone off. No, the other two guys are just standing there while Zip is doing the deed. Which is what allows Shades to pull the other guy's gun, kill the two guys, and then basically get the upper hand on poor Zip. And they go to the roof, and Shades tells Zip he's not the man Romeo was, and he says, "You're the second person today to tell me that." Just to go back, because I do want to touch on this, when we get the whole, because what I loved was that you had mentioned something about this earlier, which is about the holy hoodies. So Method Man gives Luke Cage his hoodie, and you see him looking at the fingers, and then you see people on the streets selling the hoodies with holes.
Yeah, I thought that was really, really cool. Because I'm standing there like, I'm watching it, and he's at the newsstand, and I'm like, look at that hoodie. How is it supposed to be anybody else but you right now? And then I was like, oh, okay, they really went out and did it. That's really cool.
Yeah, and then you get that great thing where the guy, pulls him around. It's somebody else. It's not Luke Cage.
Somebody else, yeah. Because
now that's a thing. Now we're all wearing our holy hoodies. And of course, and I'm blanking on his name.
Wait, I think we do have before that all, there's a good scene with Candace calling Misty and Misty having a moment with her boss. Yes. And my favorite thing about that was how Sugar is sitting there just nervously moving his leg. And the captain turns around and he goes, that guy, he's probably innocent.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Well, Sugar is probably my favorite character in this whole series.
Yeah.
Not because he is such the Sergeant Schultz of the Harlem's Paradise. He is such a guy who is just, he's just here because, it's his gig and he does it. And so long as no one's shooting at him, he's okay to do whatever you need. But once things start going south, he is like the first one out the door.
Yeah, he's just a working stiff trying to make it. He's not a bad guy.
No, I'm sure he's actually probably an awful human being.
Well, yeah, true.
You know, I mean, I don't know how many kids he's got. You know.
You see, he got me too.
Yeah.
He got me too. I basically just mirrored the boss's statement. He's probably innocent.
Yeah, but no, I doubt. See, that's I'm way too cynical to think anyone's innocent. You know.
He's really good.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So Candace reaches out to Misty, and Misty and Candace do make a connection. And actually, I loved the great scene there with Mariah and her henchman.
Yeah.
You know, where he's like kind of, oh, we're going to be mobsters now. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun being a politician, but mobster, ooh, that sounds like cool.
And like even in politics, what you're dealing with is power, you know. And here it's an opportunity, and like guys in his positions that are just silently waiting for a chance to prove themselves to get to that next level. Mm-hmm. He is so excited, and you can see sort of like the contained excitement inside of him when he's like, "I want to be a part of you rebuilding this place in your own image," and you see how that gets her excited, and sort of every political drama you've ever seen, there's, the politician, and then there's the person that believed in them and then got them there, watch that relationship sort of first happen and watch it come together is really kind of nice.
Yeah, well, Steve Bannon will tell you it's better to be the guy behind the throne than the guy in front of it.
Yeah.
Indeed. We'll see how that comic book supervillainy plays out this year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can't let an episode pass without calling that stuff out. Anyway, so we get a nice confrontation because, of course, they're the Puerto Ricans, right? They're not the Dominicans or the Cubans. They're the Puerto Ricans. Domingo Colon decides that they're going to make a move on Diamondback. And I don't understand this move on Diamondback because they come out, they got their guns drawn, they got them dead to rights, and then they just sit there. Because like what was the outcome they were waiting for?
Yeah, really.
I mean, like, what was he going to say? Well, since you have your guns drawn now, I will simply. I don't even know what they wanted there because I'm just thinking, why isn't he shooting Diamondback right now?
Yeah, he's got. Sometimes some things just get so out of hand that you just have to not think about it and just let it go. And be like, okay, I guess they just didn't.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what it comes out. Is they didn't because he's got it drawn. Then Diamondback's people come out, and so now we got our little Mexican standoff. Yeah,
but I mean. Also, think about this. Diamondback sort of has like this bigger than life personality and a reputation that, precedes him. You're walking into that before you're ever dealing with him. So, especially with how calmly he dealt with them, I'm sure Domingo was like, why is he not doing anything? It's like when a gazelle stops running and a cheetah doesn't know what to do with it. It's kind of like that where he was just so calm and be like, yeah, okay. So he's like, are there snipers? Like, what? I'm here, blah, blah, just trying to get him to move to show his hand a little bit. Yeah. And he never did.
Yeah.
I think maybe he's one of those guys that's like an old timey gunfighter that knows every move you're going to make before you're going to make it because he knows the kind of man you are,
Yeah. Yeah. Now, and I think Sugar is in this scene. So I think Sugar must have gotten sprung too. Because I do believe that because I think Sugar is the guy who runs away. Because there's one guy in there, who's like sitting there. He's got two guns drawn. He's like, heck with this, and runs out. He's not going to get into this mess. But it does look like Domingo's men have the upper hand.
Yeah.
But then Diamondback finds the pale horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the rider of the pale horse was Death, and we get when Luke Cage shows up, everybody but Domingo is dead, and Domingo is mostly dead.
He's about to die.
Yeah, but not all the way dead yet. And we see that there's a bomb that's ticking, and Luke takes Domingo, jumps out the window as the warehouse blows, and he asks him, what did Diamondback have that could do this much damage? And he says something I've never seen before. We then cut to Shades confronting Mariah and basically saying, let's build something, we both can use, and let's see if we can't get Luke Cage to kill Diamondback or Diamondback to kill Luke Cage. Either way, problems, and maybe if we're lucky, they'll kill each other and problem solved. And
she's totally, on board. She'd just taken money from Diamondback, but that was, under threat of being, killed, it's like either you take, my money or, you make an enemy. So it's like but I think her heart understands that, he's a sensible guy, Shades is, in that they can do big things together.
Well, yeah. And the fact of the matter is she also knows that, much like Cornell, Diamondback is not all together.
Oh yeah.
She knows, cause that's the thing. And that's the thing is like the whole Cain and Abel quality of Luke and Diamondback is the problem. It's like, you can't let it go. When you think about the story of Cain and Abel, the whole thing about the story of Cain and Abel is just that Cain just couldn't let it go that Abel was a nicer guy than him. They said he was favored by God, but they never really give you a reason why he's favored by God. They just see that Cain was just annoyed and, mad at Cain and Abel, and that's why he kills him. And that's what you get here. Is you get this guy who can't let things go, and in business, if you can't let things go, you're not going to do that well. I mean, Donald Trump excused from that. Although, for what it's worth, he hasn't done that well in business. He just wound up going into politics, where apparently not letting things go is now a thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving right along.
Yeah.
So
I think they end up making their way down to Pops to present the idea to Luke.
And they do have the grand MacGuffin of the episode, which is Diamondback's file on Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Which is basically Diamondback saying, I framed Carl Lucas. Here's how,
It's OJ's book saying, if I did it.
Yeah, well, for what it's worth, I think that it's not too far off from there. And you know what? Just like that, well, I actually do think OJ's innocent, but that's me. I know.
Do you really?
I honestly, I've never bought the theory of the case on OJ Simpson. Because
really?
I've never known
DNA evidence?
If you can trust the DNA evidence.
Really?
Well, because we do know that there was a lot of forensic scientists who thought they were cops.
Huh.
At the LAPD at that time. We do know that there is reason to question whether or not the data they found was correct. And for what it's worth, finding OJ's DNA there isn't that surprising.
Well, okay.
Because these are people that are going back and forth in this place.
Wait, no, didn't they say they found his DNA underneath her nails?
Well, I don't recall that. I
could be mistaken, but
yeah, and I don't remember any conversations about him having any injuries except for the cut on his hand.
Yeah, no, I honestly I can't either. It's something I just automatically assumed.
Yeah, not to retry the O.J. Simpson case, but basically what you have is usually when you have someone who kills someone, like usually when an ex-spouse kills the ex-spouse, it's usually precipitated by some change in their status quo. Uh-huh. And I never heard what this change in their status quo was. There was no usually what it revolves around the children, and it's usually an effort to keep someone from seeing their children.
Huh.
And that
what
was
if
never.
It was just wasn't she like dating Ron Goldman all of a sudden or something? And he was driving around like in his Ferrari or something.
Yeah, but that's usually not. That's usually not a cause for murder.
No, true. But
and truth be told, I've heard the exact
that
opposite,
has impulse control
which is that
issues.
Ron Goldman was gay.
Oh,
I've actually heard that Ron Goldman was just her pal.
Oh, wow.
He literally was not with her. Now, there's actually a whole other level on this, which is when we start talking about closed head trauma, which of course O.J. Simpson would have suffered a lot of over the years.
Right, impulse control.
Yeah, I mean, there could be this quality to it. What it is, I'm not saying that he's innocent. I'm just saying I've never seen enough evidence that if I were on the jury, I would say, yeah, I'm just gonna I'm gonna go along with it because I've never believed the theory of the case. Because for me, as an old school Columbo guy, if you don't have a strong theory of the case, if you don't have why this guy killed him, I don't buy they killed him.
Huh.
You got to give me a reason. You got to say, here's why he killed her. And the idea that after they're already divorced, after there's all this water under the bridge, without precipitating a thing, she asks for more money, she wants, or he's behind on child support, or without her threatening him just showing up one day and murdering her is way out of left field. Now, if you want to throw in a closed head trauma theory of the case that he because of his injuries from a career in football, lost his ability for impulse control. And quite frankly, I'll tell you what. Right now, if I was O.J. Simpson, I might be thinking about claiming that to see if we can get a retrial based on diminished capacity due to mental illness caused by head injury. But then again, even in that but in order to do that, he actually would have to admit to the crime. So that's
right. That's
whole
true.
other bag of hammers. Anyway, this isn't the O.J. Simpson hour. This is the.
So they're at Pop's trying to make a deal, and Misty shows up, and they have themselves another Mexican standoff.
Yeah.
Which is interrupted by Diamondback and his new what did he call it? Bobby Fish called it something. Something stormtrooper.
Oh yeah, a stormtrooper pimp outfit.
Yeah.
and basically he shuts him down about it. Okay, no, I was just asking. Because it is basically, and what's interesting about this is that we had already established that there was this, what we'll call a kinetic force glove that he had used previously, which was this thing that would create this force charge behind the glove so that when he hit the cop, it was like he was hitting him like he had superhuman strength.
Right.
Now we see that this has been built into a whole suit.
Right.
Which, Diamondback got access to. Honestly, I really want to see what's going on with Justin Hammer. Because I got all this Hammer tech coming in. Because this is actually a pretty impressive suit he's wearing, which we'll see next episode. But it does give him, first off, it makes him bulletproof to Shades' bullets. Because Shades, unlike Domingo, just pops them off. But, we
interesting.
Yeah.
So he'd be susceptible to the Judas bullets too.
Well, with the suit on, yeah.
Right.
Honestly, I would wager that he's probably even susceptible to like an armor-piercing bullet, because I doubt he has quite as strong of skin. Although we don't know if armor-piercing bullets would go against how they would do against Luke Cage either. I mean, truth be told, the Judas bullets are strong, but really, it's possible that simply a hardened carbide steel would actually do it. Do the damage as well. I mean, he's supposed to have diamond hard skin, but diamond hard skin could just as easily, be pierced by a diamond.
Oh, fair enough.
I mean, you don't really need that space metal, but it looks better in the brochure that you're selling him space metal. In fact, probably 90% of the space metal is just, hardened carbon steel.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we see.
I love that his costume was so sort of homemade looking. Like it wasn't like super fancy or something. I just sort of dug that he like threw it together. There wasn't
no. That what that was is that's basically supposed to be military grade armor. This is basically Hammer's answer to the Iron Man armor. Is what this is. Is that basically because of various problems with the with building their own armors, they've apparently opted to go for something that's a little more scaled down and focusing on what you really want in a military application for soldiers Rather than just trying to make one guy into a Superman, what if we had just had an army of Luke Cages? And that's essentially what you have here. And so it gives him the equivalent to, in punching strength, superhuman strength, and bulletproofness, which is basically all you want for your soldiers. You want them to be able to smash people and then not be damaged by bullets, And I do like where, Bobby Fish asks, is there any chance you could take this outside? And it's like, no. Okay, just asking. And that's where we leave this episode. We don't get to see the throwdown till next week. Any final thoughts on this episode, Mozz?
No, I thought it was really awesome, and I can't wait to see that fight. Yeah. I love it ends off with Misty going, kick his ass, Luke.
Yeah, yes. It is going to be good. And honestly, what I will definitely tell you is this episode ends in a way, this series ends in a really strong, well-written way. Which I'm sure. Oh, nice.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah, you go there and you're like, oh, I did not even imagine that's how they were going to end this episode. And it ends so well. Yeah, it ends really powerfully. And definitely ends on a cliffhanger, because, of course, we are going to get Luke Cage Season 2 that has been approved.
Nice.
And we are going to get the Defenders, and here's my big prediction for the Defenders, okay?
Okay.
Damon Boone is going to come back. Damon Boone, the politician who died?
Yeah, how?
Because my theory is Damon Boone is actually Damon Hellstrom, which is a Marvel character called the Son of Satan.
Oh.
Who was also a member of the Defenders. Huh. He is also key to Patty, what's her name? Patsy Walker story. He and Patsy Walker eventually have a relationship, and that drives her insane, which sends her to hell, but that gives her mystical sense in her current incarnation. But her and Damon Hellstrom are tied together. And I get the feeling, my current theory is that Sigourney Weaver will be playing Mephisto, and she will be the mother of Damon Boone. And that is what we're going to get played out there. Because I think we're going to get this idea that, they're going to be going up against the devil, and Damon Boone, who died and rose again 3 days later, will be a central aspect. This is my crazed fan theory that I'm putting out there.
Well, that'd be awesome. That'd be intense.
Yeah, we're gonna have to watch for that in the Defenders, kids. Okay, Mozz, if anyone would like to reach out to you on this show, talk to you about it, give you their theory of the case on the O.J. Simpson trial, how can they reach you?
You can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
Okay, and of course you can always reach out to me at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. Of course, follow me on the Twitters as I live tweet various shows, from The Incredible Hulk 7 o'clock on Saturdays, to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at 10 o'clock on Tuesdays, to Legends of Tomorrow on Thursdays at 8. You can follow me on Twitter at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality. Sweet Christmas jive turkeys. It has been another wonderful episode of Luke Cage. One more to go, and then we'll have to come back here for the Defenders.
Yeah. Or whatever comes to us. When is Punisher coming out?
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
I don't have the schedule in front of me. We'll look it up, and we will come back for that. Yeah, the only thing with Punisher and Daredevil is I got to make sure that there's someone already sitting on that at Southgate.
I got you. Yeah.
But I think maybe you and me, Mozz, we've established ourselves. I think we could probably take any show we want.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be fun to do another one.
It absolutely would. Okay. Good night, everybody. Join us next week. And ever thereafter. Good night.